that button. Hello, YouTube. Welcome back. We're about to start watching the World of Midnight developer panel. I haven't watched the panel yet. I've seen a bunch of little bits and pieces through social media and through Wowhead and through all over the bloody place, of course, because that's how it happens. But we haven't watched the thing in whole yet, so we're going to watch through, we're going to watch with chat, we're going to pause every so often, have a chit-chat about what's happening, we're going to look at all the little bits and pieces and see what we're excited about. I hope you're excited. Midnight is coming. How amazing was that cinematic? And the gameplay trailer, I'm so excited. This is going to be great. So, without further ado, World of Midnight developer panel. Let's go. Don't know how the volume's going to go. Maybe there. Maybe there, that might be good. Okay, so this looks like the gameplay trailer without the voiceover from Xalatath. It most certainly is. If you're remembering, she has wands occasionally, just smacking them. Because in my life, complete rogue mages appear in a fair video on the YouTubes. More ado.
In welcoming Ian Hazacostas and Marie Hamilton for the World of Midnight. Give it up!
Amazing. How incredible is the stage, by the way? This thing is bananas.
Guten Tag und herzlich willkommen. Thank you, Gamescom.
That was better. That was better than any of the other ones I've heard.
Thank you for coming out for this panel where we're going to talk about the World of Midnight, the story,
Yes.
the zones, the cultures, and the places that you'll go.
Good.
I'm Ian Hazacostas, game director on WoW.
Hi, I'm Maria Hamilton, Associate Design Director on WoW. I'm super happy to be here.
Yay. I like Maria. She seems like a really cool person. I don't know her, obviously, but yeah.
And so today we're going to talk about story, cultures, delves, dungeons, and raids. So let me just kick things off with a quick
script is
recap
down.
of the stories so far. What brought us here?
Okay. Story
So
recap. Let's
we
go.
began the World Soul Saga around a year ago and began telling the largest, most ambitious story we've ever tried to tell in World of Warcraft. It all began with whispers, visions that the champions of Azeroth were beginning to experience that ultimately led Thrall and Anduin, among others, to, a certain sword in a certain place. We investigated, we tracked those visions down, and ultimately they led us to the mysterious land of Khazalgar, where we deployed the floating city of Dalaran.
Well, we tried.
And that didn't go so well.
Yeah.
We were in fact ambushed by Xalatath and her Nerubian allies, where Xalatath wielded the Dark Heart artifact to drain the power of Dalaran, capturing Khadgar as well, and destroying the city. Over the course of our adventures, Xalatath thwarted us several times, but Ilaria was able to ultimately perceive the power and the importance of the Dark Heart. She struck out at it, damaging it. This severely disrupted Xalatath's plans, as well as freeing Khadgar. He was mortally wounded, but Anduin was able to step in and save him. But that disruption led Xalatath to seek out the aid of one Gallywix. Now, the Dark Heart is this incredibly powerful artifact, originally crafted by Neltharion with the aid of the goblins. So who better than some goblins to repair the damage? But she should have found some more trustworthy goblins.
Where?
Because Gallywix, of course, had a plan of his own. And the Dark Heart ended up falling into the hands of Shadowguard Ethereals, who aimed to use it to bring back the Void Lord Demencius, a threat so great that it even forced Xalatath to set aside her goals and work with us for a time to stop his rise and the inevitable devouring of all worlds. Now, we have defeated Demencius, at least on story mode, Raid Finder, normal, and heroic. I think Echo is actually working on Mythic around 25 minutes from here right now. So is Method and Liquid. But would you believe that upon Demencius' defeat, Xalatath was not, as it turns out, on our side?
Wonder
And so
why.
she claimed the power of the Void Lord Demencius, ascended to become one of the most powerful beings the cosmos has ever known. And now, as we move into Midnight,
She's so fucking beautiful.
she is
Like,
set to
god
launch an
damn.
assault that will plunge our world into darkness, that will extinguish all light unless we stand against it.
All right, well, let's start off talking about our heroes and our foes.
Okay, I'm gonna catch up on chat a little bit there because I feel like we've had some thoughts. Good. First thought was, I know that voice when Meek showed up. Yes, panel is happening in front of a live Ghost Studio audience. I've heard some comments about the audio balance between the mics on stage and like the mics in the audience and stuff like that. So, I mean, look, this is what happens when Blizzard doesn't have control of the situation. This is a Gamescom panel. Gamescom are the ones running the audiovisual, right? So, yeah, it's a thing. Hello, El Rey, about a year ago, Sword. No, yeah, Anduin, one singular Gallywix, just the one. Ah, not surprising. Hello, Hers. No fear. If you know she's evil, she's also you can be evil and beautiful. There's a thing. Hey, Dunno. You change her. She's a void. Yeah, exactly. She's literally void. She's void. Okay, cool. Onward.
So starting off, we've got Terralion, Erator, and Ilaria. We've been following Ilaria's journey for a bit here. We know about her feelings about Xalatath, and she was right all along. We also have Terralion, her husband, who will be an important part of Midnight.
It's a gorgeous model.
As a representative of the light. So at the very end of the cinematic there, when we see the light coming in response to Liadrin's prayer, the army of light has arrived, and so have the players. We also will be called by the light to come and join that battle. Erator, of course, is their child.
That's interesting. So I've seen everywhere, it's like, it's the Army of the Light, and then it's not actually the Army of Light, which is like the faction that we interacted with on Argus back in Legion. Apparently it's an Army of Light, not the Army of Light. So just as a side note there. But it's also, I find it interesting that we as champions will be called by the light, because what about like Shadow Priests? Are they going to be called by the light? I mean, maybe, I guess they're not 100% shadowy, voidy, what's it? But yeah, it's interesting. We'll see how we go. And Aratzol, look at him! Oh my god, he's so big!
He also is a paladin, and he is very supportive and understanding of both of his parents. He's trying to understand the void influences that Ilaria is dealing with, as well as the strong call to light that his father has. So he's a little bit in the middle of the two. So they are very important to our story. And of course we have Xalatath. Couldn't go very far without Xalatath, our very cool villain. She seems to do whatever she needs to do to achieve whatever her goal is.
Anyway.
She's now stated what her goal is. She's going to wipe us off the planet. She's going to take Azeroth. She's going to take all the power for herself and bring down Midnight. So looking forward to seeing what's happening with Xalatath.
So she just wants to be powerful.
Wasn't really expecting the Army of the Light to show up there, as you could tell. She seemed a little surprised, but she's got plenty of forces, and she's very powerful at this point. We also have Liadrin. She is she's the Blood Knight matriarch. She's obviously a very powerful paladin. She's the one who has called upon the light to come and save the day. And she is going to be very important to our efforts to push back the void.
I just seen the players in their lazy transmog confirm that it's the players that show up. Yeah, not the Army of the Light that Velen had the vision of. I'm not 100% sure. What about Death Knight? So they get called by like, good question. If the players don't turn up, it's going to be a film rather than a game. She wants to be much stronger. Well, we were talking about that the other day, right? Like, do we know what Xalatath actually wants? Like, yeah, okay, she wants to consume...
Hi, the Sunwell.
Phil, thank you so much for the resub for the 13 months. So we know, like, Xalatath wanted to essentially devour, because Demencius wanted to devour Azeroth. We knew that. But then does Zali want to devour Azeroth, or like what does she want? What is she gaining out of all of this? What is her end game? And if it's literally just like power, if it's just power, I'm gonna pause that because that's gonna get annoying and you can't see it on screen anyway. So like what does she want? She just wants power. But to what end? I'm curious about the end, like why she wants the power. But anyway, we'll find out, I'm sure, or we won't either way.
She does not have a strong liking for the Amani trolls, and that will become important. We have Orwena, who we met back in the War Within, the Heronir. We met a few of them, not a lot. And as you probably know, we'll be going in and seeing more about their culture and their race. Orwena is going to have an opportunity to teach us about her people and what they care about, what their interests are, their culture, And
I'm excited
she's
for
one of the
culture.
youngest of her race, actually. She is
Oh, wow.
not an elder. There are elder Heronir, much more knowledgeable and wise. She follows the voice of her goddess, and that has taken her into places that we have been able to find her at last. We have Umbric and the Void Elves. This is an opportunity for the Void Elves to really come into their own, having been banished essentially from Silvermoon and their kin, essentially, because of the void taint that they feel that they...
This is where I feel like if this was a Blizzard run panel, we'd be getting, because I know there's a slideshow happening. I know there's stuff behind them, that they've got pictures of videos of the different models and all that kind of stuff, and they're just not showing it because Gamescom is in charge of AV. So look, it is what it is.
Have. Umbric is obviously trying to pull his people together, and he has a lot to contribute to our efforts to face off against the Void. We have Zuljara and Zul'Jan, grandchildren of Zul'Jin. Zuljara is the chieftain of the Amani. Zul'Jan is her greatest advisor and brother. They are going to be giving us an opportunity to experience the Amani culture, not as enemies this time, but as sort of friends. They too are having slight void problems, and they need some assistance. Needless to say, the Blood Elves are uninspired by that request, as they aren't on best of terms. And then we have the Void and the Light, arguably the biggest conflict here between two forces. The Void we have been fighting against, the Light we have been fighting with. But, extremes of either are problematic, as you might imagine. So there will be some issues between the two, and also issues between people that are Void-based, like Void Elves, and the Army of the Light Paladins, for example. So that's another really important sort of contrast to watch during Midnight. And now let's look at the really pretty pictures, go into the culture and zones.
Yes. Oh my god, I'm so excited.
Our first culture to talk about is Blood Elves. Those of you that don't play Horde may not know a lot about the Blood Elves. This is your opportunity to rectify that. They were High Elves before adopting.
Sorry, I just... Oh my god, tell me that Smog. I need to win the lottery so I can, commission so much cosplay. This is gorgeous! Oh my god, all three of those, female sets, oh my god, I would wear them, out and about during the day. Jesus Christ! They are beautiful!
The name Sindorai to represent and reflect upon the death of so many of their own. The Scourge, did a terrible number on their home area in Eversong and Ghostlands, and they have been recovering ever since. Their need for power, their need for energy and magical strength is well known. They are very, very tied to the Sunwell, which is, of course, exactly what Xal'atath is going after. Here's some pre-alpha footage for you that we just captured a couple weeks ago. I want to point out that there's not a lot of creatures spawned yet, because, as I said,
this is in-game footage.
But it's looking really good. It's exactly like what you might expect from Eversong. Eversong and Ghostlands have been combined into a single zone called Falas.
So we got one
because
zone.
It's a relatively small zone. They were small zones back in Classic.
You couldn't fly.
Now with Skyriding, we want it to feel fun to move through them.
Yes!
But as you can see...
So if you missed that, Ghostlands and Eversong Woods are being merged into one zone called Quel'Thalas, and we have Skyriding. And it's because the zones were quite small, they were ground mount only, and so it took a while to get around them, and of course they were they were starting areas, and so characters didn't have mounts and stuff, so it felt bigger than it actually was, but now that we're Skyriding, those zones are teeny tiny. So they've merged them both into the one zone. But Eversong is home. Eversong is the first place that I ever stepped foot in Azeroth, and I'm oh my god, I'm so excited. So excited. They better not do a Dalaran, because I don't think I can survive another one. I'm so keen. Good. Okay.
It's the usual sorts of architecture that you would expect. The lofty glistening towers, the amazing foliage and manicured gardens.
They're beautiful.
And there are some things that have healed. The Death Scar in particular has totally healed and is no longer there.
I didn't
Not
know
all
that. That's
parts of
cool.
the zone, however, have healed up. There are still some areas that look a little bit iffy, this being one of them.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Wow.
essentially,
Those vines
it's
and-
the same place you're used to. If you're a blood elf, if not, here's your opportunity to check it out. Check out the zone. Reimagining it was super fun for us. Artists had a great time. Had the opportunity to make it just a little bit bigger, a little bit better, and increase the fidelity of the zone. Hope you'll enjoy it. We're going to move on now.
Beautiful.
And this is Silver Moon City. It is enormous. I would say that because it's a hub city, there's a small section of Silver Moon that's been set aside as a sanctuary area where Horde and Alliance share that space. But the majority of the city is Horde, and Alliance is kill on sight, as you would expect. Essentially, our world building team had a wonderful time. It's all new assets. The city walls are all brand new, all to top fidelity. Everything has been remade. We've got places you'll recognize. You should feel real nostalgia if you've had any experience here.
I have goosebumps.
We have Murder's Row, which you're going to see a dungeon related to that as well.
Yeah, I'm excited for that dungeon.
But overall, it's the same glorious, wonderful Silver Moon you love, but with much, much better, much more recent fidelity art.
Oh, man.
And once this stuff gets filled in with our spawning, it's going to look amazing.
It already looks amazing,
there's
Maria.
a little void storm problem going on. And
What void
let's
storm
talk about
problem?
the Amani, because they're the next culture we're going to want to talk about.
It's fine.
They were previously enemies. If you happen to be around
Look
and played
at
the raid in
them.
Zulaman, then you're familiar with the Amani
They
and
look incredible.
sort of their culture. We've had an opportunity to expand them because we created an entire zone for them now. They are very proud people. They worked very hard to get their land. They had some important work to do. The Zandalari basically said, well, you can have that land if you defeat this, giant, evil, horrible thing. And so they
Good.
did that. And they were a great empire for a period of time, but they've fallen sort of into
Amani are
a
not
lesser
playable.
status now. They've
The new
sort
playable
of
race is
lost
Harrenir.
their touch with the Loa. They're not as close to them.
Aw.
Being
Okay.
right on the border and having a lot of conflict with the Blood Elves makes this a little tricky for them. They too are having some void problems.
Everyone's having
This
void
is
problems.
Zulaman. We've built the entire zone out. You will see the raid space. It still exists. Those of you that did that raid will recognize those buildings, I expect. This is a very old forest, very tall mountains. It's temperate. It rains
very
a fair
Nazmir.
bit. It's got
But like
eagle,
different.
lynx, Janalai. It's got dragonhawk, bear, Loa, temples still, but the Amani haven't been
You see that dungeon,
really
the summoning
worshiping
stone?
the Loa for a long time. A lot of stuff is overgrown and abandoned, and Zuljara is going to need to find a way to help her people survive the void onslaught that is coming for them. As you can see where the void has come in, it's not looking quite so good. And let's move on to the
Very purple.
Harrenir. So we met the Harrenir
They look
early
so
on
good.
in the War Within, but we weren't really sure what they were about. We didn't know their story, and we didn't know their connection really to the rest of the world. We'd never seen them before. They're ancient guardians of the rootways, and they're led actually by a council of elders.
Just
They
like
have a very direct
vines
connection with
and-
their goddess, and Orwena has a very strong,
Incredible.
direct connection, in fact, with the goddess, which led her to leave her people and go out into the outside world, something that they don't tend to do and they don't really look kindly upon. So, as you probably have heard, they are unlocked as an allied race. You'll be able to make your very own Harrenir. We're going to have
Oh,
great
wow.
customizations for them.
They
They look pretty.
Oh, they do look pretty. Oh my god, look at that. So we had a couple of data mine. So Wowhead, when we looked at the cinematic and the gameplay trailer, and we had the announcement officially, Wowhead had a bunch of assets that were data mined at the start of the War Within alpha. So this is very old data, and they had like 2 skin tones, and they had a couple of body fur things, and a couple of this and the other. So this is obviously so much more broad than what we had data mined all the way back then. Damn! Look at them! They are incredibly beautiful. Far out. The quills and the body paint and just... Oh my god. Oh my god. My eyes are drawn to like the yellow and blue one, like the you can't see my cursor. If I click, it's going to play. This one here and this one, like the contrast of like skin tone to design details and stuff like that is just absolutely gorgeous. And I mean, obviously orange because it's kind of, you know, red and orange is what I'm usually drawn to. But like, and oh my god, they're beautiful. They're gorgeous. There are so many customization options. We're going to have like a whole hour's worth of time just scrolling through all the different options you can have. Oh my goodness. That's bananas. That is wild. Oh my goodness. Okay, let's keep going.
I have to say, I've seen the druid forms. We weren't able to show those yet. They are really awesome. One of them is a pangolin, which just looks amazing. They are prone to wearing this bioluminescent paint. And they have different kinds of patterns they can put.
I've heard about the pangolin form. Oh my god. I've seen conversations about like, come on, please tell me that the pangolin form is going to have some kind of tongue attack. And the response being, well, obviously it's an interrupt. But yeah, no, it's, so good.
On their faces and chests. So really cool looking, really awesome. Not really elves, not really trolls. Those of you that have kind of seen them previously, played in the War Within, know that they take a bat form when they want to travel. So that's the Heronir and their customizations. And this is the zone, Herondar.
Oh
it is
my goodness.
A fungal jungle place, and it has
fungal folio crack.
All of the roots of the world trees all converge here, all are twisted up in this area, this pocket area, which isn't really directly connected to anything. The people, the Heronir travel through the routeways themselves, so they're able to move around the world. One of the interesting things about this zone is it has a place called the Rift of Aln, and from the Rift of Aln will issue forth creatures that their goddess dreams. And sometimes they are horrific and horrible things. And some members of the Heronir take an oath, give up their connection to the goddess, and serve as wardens of that place, preventing those horrible creatures from attacking. They also have this place called the Den of Echoes, which we're looking at now. This is where the Heronir remember their past through paintings.
Oh, come on.
And you will have an opportunity to learn some of those stories by interacting with those paintings. And let's talk a little bit.
Gamescom, why are you doing this to us? That sounds incredible though. Like somewhere you can go where there's like literally just sort of paintings on the walls and you can interact with them and learn about the culture and the history. That's... That sounds beautiful, and I wish I could see it. I'm sure there'll be screenshots and photos on Wowhead and stuff. We'll have a look later. Rift of Aln, though, that sounds familiar. Wasn't that in part of the Emerald Dream? Yeah. Yeah, defeat Xavius in the Emerald Nightmare. That was, yeah, so we were in the... Right, the Rift of Aln is a... Continue to cite, please. Rift of Aln is a vast, deep fissure in a small corner located deep within the Emerald Dream, from which it is thought by the Druids that the dream itself originated. The Druids also believe that it bleeds into the Twisting Nether and the Great Dark Beyond. Players enter the Rift through a vision of Lake Elenara in the Emerald Dream's counterpart of Moonglade. I thought I recognised that.
By the Sunwell.
Curiosity, thank you so much for the Prime 2 months. Yeah, so we followed Xavier's into the Rift of Oln where he was defeated. So that grey nothingness where we took out Xavier's, that was the I thought I recognized the term. Interesting. Right.
About the void, since we also have that as a culture. You can see
Look at the
people you
squid
recognize on one
octopus
side
thing.
and people you probably recognize less on the other side. Void creatures in general
Little
are
blob.
very predatory. They are interested in eating anything smaller and weaker than themselves and taking that power. The Dominar, which are sort of the strongest, are a bit different. They are very, very intelligent, very smart. And the Dominar actually have a bit of a hierarchy that they've developed, again, through
Is that the 15-foot
conquest,
thing?
through, beating on and dominating others. And you will deal with Dominar as one of the stronger representatives of the Void. Of course, Xalatath is part of this group. Cultists who follow Xalatath and follow the Void. We've already seen the Shadow Guard as well. There's even cute little ones, but they will try to eat you, so don't think that they're all that cute.
Honey, I'm from Australia. It's fine.
And this is Voidstorm. This is a mysterious world
This
that
is
has
beautiful.
been formed by the Void. Everything here is hungry. Everything will eat you given
Good.
opportunity. This is all about gaining power, becoming stronger, becoming more powerful, and eating the next thing. Essentially, we have a big raid here in Voidstorm. This is where we will face off against the Void with the Army of Light and attempt to make sense of what's going on here. But there are some gorgeous pictures. I would say the best blues and purples ever, probably,
Agreed.
happening right here. But generally speaking, a really, really cool zone to explore. And you can be pretty sure that
That's
they're
beautiful.
enemies, all of them. All right, and I'm going to hand off to Ian for delves, dungeons, and raids. Thanks all.
Delves, dungeons, and raids.
Thank you, Maria. Yeah, all those amazing zones that you just saw, of course, are going to contain delves, dungeons, and raids. So really, delves
And
are
transmog.
one of our proudest additions to War Within, and they are, of course, here to stay.
Good.
And so you have 10 new delves coming.
Okay. Alright, sorry, that was really loud. Okay, so Delves. The Shadow Enclave from Voidholm. Collegiate Calamity. Can we just props to Blizzard for all the alliteration? It makes me so unbelievably happy. Parhelion Plaza. Parhelion Plaza, that's a Blood Elf spot. The Darkway, Twilight Crypts, Atalaman, of course the Amani. The Grudge Pit. The Grudge Pit. I think, is that the one I remember seeing somewhere mention that there's a delve where you just kind of go in and just get bosses thrown at you constantly and you just have to kind of survive. Anyway, Grudge Pit, the Gulf of Memory sounds so intriguing. I hope that, like, so the delves we had in War Within, they were very cute and I like playing through them, but and having the different stories and stuff like that. But there wasn't, I don't know that I felt connected to the actual story of the delve. It was more just, here's a cave, there are people in there who need help, go do a quest. So I'm wondering if, like, 'cause something like the Gulf of Memory makes me think that there's going to be something a little bit deeper, like a bit more story to explore there. So I'm hopeful, we'll see. Sunkiller Sanctum, Shadowguard Point, and Torment's Rise that has an asterisk. I think that's going to be the Nemesis delve. But let's find out.
With Midnight scattered across these zones, I think we've learned a lot of lessons. We've taken feedback on what worked and what didn't. And so these
Good.
are going to have all the same layers of variety and replayability that you knew in the War Within, but more layouts, more enemies that we found work better in this format, and less of those that don't. A couple of these delves are actually going to be outdoor spaces where you can use your ground mounts to get around more easily.
Oh, cool.
And we're really happy to be able to
Wait, then why is it a
integrate them
delve?
into the stories of the zones, because now that they're such a proven format,
What makes a delve a delve? Like, if you delving into a cavernous thing? Or does it not really matter because it's like, fine. Curious. Anyway.
we can really have quests lead you through them more regularly. Now, of course, in addition to these 10 delves, there is an 11th Nemesis delve, where you will track down the nemesis that has been plaguing you over the course of the first season. And taking the place of Bran Bronzebeard will be a new companion, none other than our good friend Valyra Sanguinar.
Oh my god, look at her, Valyra!
Now, she will aid you in many of the same ways as Bran, and hopefully stand in fewer things that you'd prefer she not stand in. So, dungeons. We have 8 new
That's
dungeons
hilarious.
coming
Good. Okay.
in Midnight.
Alright, so 8 new dungeons, 4 level up, 4 max level. We've got Windrunner Spire, which I am so excited to jump into. I'm so glad that like follower dungeons are a thing as well, because it means we can go through them at our own pace and like learn the stories behind the dungeons. So we've got Windrunner Spire, Magister's Terrace, which is not just a rehash. From what I understand, it's a full new dungeon. It just shares the name and it's sort of like the same location. Murder Row, which is a part of Silvermoon City. Den of Nalarak. Then at max level, we have Mysara Caverns, the Blinding Veil, Voidscar, Arena. Maybe that's what I'm thinking of, the arena fight where you tossed in and just boss after boss. I think that might be it. And Nexus Point Xenas. Subject to change, of course. Which they've got down the bottom there. I wonder if the subject to change is if they want to like actually just take a whole ass dungeon out, or if they're going to like change the names, maybe. Like maybe they'd rename Magister's Terrace to make it less confusing or something, but we'll see.
4 level up, 4 max level. And again, these we always try to showcase fun gameplay and innovative looks at the dungeon format. We'll be returning to Magister's Terrace, which has really been reimagined and expanded from last we saw it. We'll visit some new locations that weren't accessible before, including a balcony overlooking the Sunwell itself. When we go to Murder Row, a corner of Silvermoon, I think for Court of Stars fans back from Legion, there's some of those vibes here, as we're actually going in undercover to investigate rumors of the use of fell magic within the walls of Silvermoon.
Thank you for the
and
follow.
before we know it, we're going to be plunged into combat, and the dungeon will unfold from there. Another favorite is the Voidscar Arena in the Voidstorm. Here, at the whims of one of the Dominar that Maria was just mentioning, combatants from around the universe come together to kind of battle to the death for the pleasure of the Dominar, and we're going to be thrown into that arena as part of this dungeon.
That's what I was thinking of.
Don't worry, especially in Mythic Plus, as waves come at you, you can control the pace of the waves.
Hey!
Of course, we're going to have a mix of 4 of these dungeons, as well as 4 returning fan favorites in the first season of Midnight. But unlike in War Within, all 8 of these dungeons will be available in Mythic Zero during that pre-season period right at launch.
Good. I hope they keep that up, having them all available. Well, I mean, I know he just said like in the pre-season period, but excuse me, Red Bull. I hope that they keep the Mythic Zeros of all of them available, even if they're not available as Mythic Plus, because it's just having a whole dungeon not have a Mythic version for however long, it's a pain in the butt, especially for like collectibles and things like that. So fingers crossed.
Another fun dungeon that we'll be venturing into is Windrunner Spire, where for those of you, particularly lore fans out there, we're going to get to learn more about the family history and the tragic background of the Windrunner family. This is a wing dungeon with plenty of mysteries to uncover. Now in Midnight, we have not 1, not 2, but 3 separate raid zones that will be rolling out over the course of the first season. Here you see the Void Spire in the Void Storm, which is that stronghold of power where we're going to need to assault Xalatath.
So pretty.
This is a 6-boss raid. But alongside it, there will also be the Dream Rift, a 1-boss raid in Haranar. And then shortly after that, we'll be able to take the fight back to the Sunwell and the Gates of Silvermoon in the March on Keldanas. So really excited to have different environments, different settings.
He just said Keldanas. I've been told time and time again that when I say Keldanas, I'm wrong and that it's Queldanas. He just said Keldanas. I beggeth all of your pardons. Right, so 6-boss raid, then a 1-boss raid, then a 2-boss raid, marching on the summer. So it's that also implies that they're going to be staggered release. It's not going to be all at once. And I understand why, and I think that's a good idea, but also I wonder how long we'll have that last raid for before the next patch comes out. Or unless it's like across the entirety of 12.0 and we get like 12.0 is the 6 boss raid, and then 12.05 is the 1 boss raid, and then 12.07 is the 2 boss raid. That'd be really interesting, like having a new raid every 2 months. Especially considering you're front-loading with the 6 boss for like your race to 12 first and all that kind of stuff, and then your 1 and then 2. Interesting. I'm curious to see how that rolls.
Really integrate the raids into the stories that we're telling more than ever before. Because with story mode, all players can experience these epic moments, and we can offer a wider range of environments for guilds to challenge themselves against.
I would love story mode to be expanded to the whole raid,
So
though.
that is a quick look at the world, the setting, and what's coming in Midnight. Thank you, Gamescom.
Wait, what? Oh, is that it? Oh. Well, that's... Okay. That's it, I guess. Cool. That was very surface level skimming. I was expecting more, but all of that came out in like social posts and stuff like that before the VOD did. That's unfortunate. In fact, most of that came out before the panel happened, by virtue of creator interviews and stuff like that. That's a little bit disappointing. But it's a good overview, I guess, a good kind of bullet point thing for people who aren't, you know, elbow deep on all the social media platforms. Let me have a quick skim through chat and see where we are. We are. Zaga Marsh vibes, yeah, from the mushrooms and things like that. Yes, absolutely. Don't worry, it wants to eat you. It's just too small to... Yeah, literally. Seems like one of the major motives of Midnight is literally light versus dark. I mean, that is what they said at the start of the panel, isn't it? The start of the... that wasn't even a panel, really. That was a presentation. Does Bran stay out of the webs? Bran doesn't stay with us at all. Bran is not there. Bran is gone. Google definition is reach inside a receptacle and search for something. Yeah, so like an outdoor delve is a bit interesting. Nothing says sneaky rogue, like bright red attire, but she's so good. It doesn't matter what you're wearing if you're in stealth, Mads. Magister's Terrace 2, Electric Voidaloo. Launching them all in the level up preseason. Yes. Probably to cover their butt after things like the Wrath box art having aerial combat that was never added. I doubt it. That was the only slide that had subject to change on it, was that I noticed. That was what I found really interesting about it. Because like you look at like the customizations and even like where is the here, right? So you've got these are all the delve names. And there's nothing here, right? This is what it is. The asterisk is just to say like, this is the Nemesis delve, right? And then you get to the dungeons and boom, subject to change. I just found that really interesting. I mean, everything is subject to change, right? We are not even in, Blizzard is in pre-alpha mode currently. Everything is subject to change. Everything, every last thing. Please refer to Warlords of Draenor. Everything is subject to change. But it's just interesting that was the only slide that said that, unless there were other slides that just Gamescom decided weren't important enough to show us. Regional variances, a lot more. This is a lot more info than we got for DF and the War Within this early, isn't it? No, this is about the amount of information we get. We get an overview of the cultures, we get an overview of the zones, the delves, dungeons. I mean, we had delve info, like prior, like Dragonflight didn't have delves, so maybe that's why it feels like a bit more info in that sort of area, but no, this is how much we got. We have more, Midnight has more than Dragonflight and War Within though. 3 raids is not something we got from DF or War Within because they just weren't, there was 1 raid, not 3. So it might feel like more because there is more, but this is the same level of information we got. Yeah, for sure. I expect that this was a good reveal, like a teaser trailer, and we'll get the closer detail in a Wowcast or something closer to release. Yeah, I would expect that we'll start seeing alpha soon. Maybe not like, you know, during Gamescom, but I'd expect that alphas and betas and stuff like that will be coming pretty soon. We'll find out, I guess, won't we? Yeah. That was interesting. Interesting top level thing. Not...
Hi there.
Not sure. Like, I don't know how I feel about it. It feels like not as deep as I was hoping for. There is another panel coming. There is another panel coming. That one is being well, it's not being broadcast. We know now that it's not being streamed, but it is happening at Gamescom tomorrow evening, my time. So like later on in the evening, my time tomorrow. And that should mean that, 12 plus hours later, we should have the VOD available for Sunday's stream. So that's what we're going to do on Sunday. And that's a systems panel, which I think will be a little bit more information on how things are going to work. I'm so keen to learn about Prey. The Prey system is something that is really exciting to me, especially after seeing those 2 mounts. Oh my god! So I'm collector person. That is what I do. So all this stuff is very, very interesting. But what I want to know is what can I get out of them. So the Prey system fascinates me. It's like Nemesis, like being jumped on in a delve by the Nemesis, but like outdoors or something. I'm not 100% sure. I have learned that it's something that you can group up for, which I hope that it scales. Like in D4, D4, where you can jump in and as you add people to your group, everything kind of scales up. And then as they leave, everything scales down. I hope that the Prey system does that. If you can group up for stuff, because that way it'll still maintain that challenge. Because we've got normal, hard, and what do they call it? Normal, hard, and nightmare difficulty, I think was what they said in the brief thingamajig. So I hope that nightmare difficulty is genuinely hard, even if you decide to go in with a group. Maybe not the same kind of scaling as the delves, because the delve scaling was a little bit broken with groups and stuff. But I mean, group scaling in general in WoW tends to not be. Anyway, it's fine. That's what I'd love to see personally. But this is not that. Systems is next. We'll just, yes, really got the impression from the cinematic that we're going to be indebted to the light now. Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. In a way. This is the thing, right? It's all about balance. Everything in life is about balance, including void and light. Obviously, the void taking over everything is really bad. And so the light are trying to push back. But we can't have the light push back so far that there's no void everywhere, because then everything is light, and that's just as bad, as Maria kind of hinted to. Like, all you need to do is look at Rel, right? Extremists exist on all sides. Doesn't matter if it's the good side or the bad side, extremists aren't great, regardless of which side they're on. So yeah, Prey seems like it'll be something in the world tier system they're launching in Remix. Yeah. So I feel like Remix is a good place to test stuff, hey? But that's the systems panel. We'll talk about that when we get there. That's the panel. What do we think? I don't know how I feel, honestly. I feel like I've gone to a degustation and I have been given the entree and I have thoroughly enjoyed it, and then the waiter has come past and given me the bill. And I'm like, where is the rest of it? And I don't, look, I want more, but that's what I feel like every single time. Like when The War Within came out, when The War Within was announced and we had all this information, literally the first thing I was doing every single morning was jumping on Wowhead and like hitting F5. Like, is there more information? It's like, oh my God, there's a new article. Oh, this is just another rehash of everything we already know. There just wasn't any new info for ages. So it's, Gamescom's not over. We still have more information to come, but we're gonna have to wait.
Time is money, friend.
Oh, and that's ads on Twitch, but that's fine. For those of you who are watching this back on YouTube, thank you so much for watching. Tell me what you think down in the comments. I'm so keen to see, did this sate your hunger for more information, or do you, like me, need all of the info and you just need more and like now? Or how are we feeling? What do we think? Are you looking forward to the systems dive on Saturday, Sunday, whatever the time is? Like, comment, subscribe, turn on the notifications, all that kind of fun stuff. I'll see you in the next one. Good.